We good to go? Okay, great. All right, I'd like to call the June 4th, 2025 meeting to order. And would ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the May 7th, 2025 meeting.
Rita Ray, I move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We have to approve the per diem expenses for today's June 4th meeting. Can I get a motion?
Move for approval, Ms. Billy. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to reports. OPT, FM, emergency purchases. Go ahead, Danny, when you're ready.
Okay, this is just for the Board of Animal Health. This is for Green and Capaya County's chicken flock that was infected with bird flu.
Any questions? Okay, we can move on to the OPT, FM, sole source purchases. Any questions for Danny? Okay, OPT, FM, staff approvals. Any questions? BOB staff approvals. Any questions? OP, SCR emergency contracts. Questions? Item F, I didn't see any request on that, so we believe we could just skip that one. OPSCR staff approvals. Questions? Okay, we'll move on to DFA, Office of Purchasing.
All right, good morning, everyone. Danny Lynch with OPTFM. If the board is okay, items 1 and 2, we can take them block there. The usual indefinite quantity request from MDOT. So y'all okay with that? It is. So items 1 and 2, both for MDOT. First one is with Blackledge Emulsions, Ergon Asphalt Emulsions, in the amount, combined amount of $1,025,000. MDOT solicited sealed bids for bituminous materials and wish to award all vendors who met the specs the lowest cost at the time of need based on availability and work location. The contracts will be used by NDOT and will be available to all state agencies and governing authorities. The second item, also indefinite quantity for NDOT, with Warren Paving, Corn Main, Dickerson and Bowen, Berry Construction, APAC, Neiman Roberts Material Resources, UEP, Stocksville, Seaboard, Asphalt Products, Advanced Asphalt, AdCamp, Standard Construction, Dunn Road Builder, Central Pipe, Blaine Truth, and John Harrell for a combined amount of $7,405,000. NDOT solicited competitive seal bids for hot and cold mixed asphalt, which is used for our crews on the road maintenance at various locations throughout the state. The contract was no extension of the award to all the vendors who met the bid requirements and specifications. OPTFM recommends approval of both of these contracts.
Okay, you have heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve items 1 and 2?
Move approval of these items. One question.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a question.
Okay,
Quick question. Danny, the second one, the local government authorities not gonna be able to go for these bids.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Harris, is this one set up for local authorities? I think it is, but
I mean,
it is set up for
They-
local.
they pretty well covered the state.
It is.
okay,
That just wasn't in the description.
Okay.
Yeah, they all of them.
all of them are. Okay, all right, thank you.
I just didn't put that on the description.
No problem.
any further questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
All right, the next one is an extension for MDOT with the Hall Group in the amount of $550,000. MDOT solicited competitive seal bids for Bushwhacker brand mower parts, and the contract was originally approved by this board on June 1st, 2022, with the first and second extensions approved on June 7th of 2023 and June 5th of 2024. This will be the third of possible 12-month extensions. OPTFM recommends approval of this extension.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor? Motion passes.
All right, next one is another indefinite quantity for MDOT with Warren Paving, Vulcan Construction, Terrell River Services, Nunley Trucking, Miller Materials, Owen Dock Warehouse, Arcosa, APAC, and A&N Enterprises in the combined amount of $3,385,000. This is for crushed aggregates, and MDOT is wishing to award to the vendor who met specifications allowing the lowest cost selection at the time of need based on availability and work location. Contract has no extensions, and there it is, available to state agencies and all governing authorities. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Rita Ray, move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, the next item also with MDOT with Trax Plus, H&E Equipment, GNS Holdings, Rent Smart Equipment, Puckett Rents, Allow Machinery, GNS, Vermeer Mid-South, and Scott Equipment in a combined amount of $3,290,000. MDOT solicited competitive seal bids for equipment rental to meet temporary and emergency equipment needs. This contract was originally approved by PPRB on July 5th of 2023, with the first extension approved on June 5th of 2024. This is the second of two 12-month extensions. OPTFM is recommending approval of this extension.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions? All in favor? Motion passes.
All right, next item, again with MDOT with Ingevity Corporation in the amount of $650,000. MDOT solicited seal bids for traffic paint. The initial contract is for 12 months, two possible 12-month extensions, and will not exceed 36 months. Ingevity Corporation agrees to sell to MDOT along with state agencies and government authorities. The OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, next item is with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources with Spot Tech of Mississippi in the amount of $3 million. Marine Resources is requesting approval to extend the contract, which is this contract uses controlled environment to grow high-density oyster larvae, which will be deployed on the public reefs, resulting in acceleration of oyster growth and harvesting. The contractor will also assess the overall feasibility, ongoing operational, maintenance costs, efficiency setting, sampling protocol, and verification process for the grow-out and deployment of seed oysters. The technology and methods used will introduce a large number of healthy oysters into the Mississippi Sound. OPTFM recommends approval of this extension.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions?
I'm just surprised that Andy didn't try to pronounce that Latin name there.
I was getting right to that.
You can't spell it.
That's right.
Don't even try.
I have just a general question. Or are the oysters, who benefits from, are there, for lack of a better word, oyster farmers who harvest the oysters and sell them?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're just, the state's spending money to increase our oyster revenue, or the oyster revenue of the farmers, I
Right,
guess, for lack of a better word, harvesters.
Yes, sir. They do go out and harvest, but the oysters are extremely beneficial environmentally too. So
Okay, yeah.
This- I'll ask, is this funding still coming from the Gulf Oil Spill?
I believe this one's coming out of Go Mesa.
Okay.
Not the oil spill.
Just to comment on, I see here healthy oysters. Do we know, is there a percentage of unhealthy oysters?
That would be a question for one of the scientists, which is not me. So, but we're constantly testing oysters. Yes.
Okay, thank you for responding to that.
Uh-huh.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, next item is with the Mississippi Fire Academy with KFT Fire Trainer LLC in the amount of $1,150,850. Fire Academy is requesting upgrades to their gas-fueled live fire trainer. This purchase will upgrade props and software to their trainer to continue facilitating training. As the designer, manufacturer, and installer of the structural fire trainer T2000, KFT Fire Trainer maintains the resources, materials, and equipment necessary to fully support the training. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Rita Ray, I move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
And this basically a sole source item.
Yes, sir, it is.
That's when I was reading, it looked like it was a sole source.
It is. They're the ones, I think that's, they have an upgrade, whatever, and do whatever to the current trainer.
Then I strip everything out. Okay. All right. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Can I, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, next item was with the Department of Transportation, with Transportation South in the amount of $12,849,300. This request is for the second of 4 possible one-year extensions. The original contract approved by this board on July 5th of 2023, and the first extension was approved on June 5th of 2024. OPTFM recommends approval of this extension.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item with my normal question on this one.
Second.
How many have they bought so far?
It's actually on.
Is it on there?
It's on the report. If you'll see some of their buses that they.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the total, but
That's
on the
fine.
staff approval for it, where you see ADA bus, that's
Okay.
all the ones they bought thus far.
Okay, I didn't look at that, I think we already know, so,
Yeah, so we put it on there this morning.
okay, thank you.
So,
Okay, all in favor? Aye, motion passes.
all right, next item is with the University of Mississippi with Clark's Pine Straw in the amount of $1.2 million. University of Mississippi is requesting approval to purchase 70 loads of pine straw bales per year. Another vendor was the lowest, however, due to a previous contract termination, University of Mississippi is requesting to contract with Clark's Pine Straw. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
So,
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, next item is with Mississippi State University with the Renco Group in the amount of $649,923. Mississippi State solicited a bid for stitching equipment to increase the size and capability of their existing gantry system. Mississippi State received one response from the solicitation request to award to the Renco Group. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
Heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And the next item is with Mississippi Department of Public Safety with Canon USA in the amount of $998,256. DPS would like to utilize the state's copier contract for 130 copiers for various locations throughout the state. This is a 4-year copier contract. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
This is Rita Ray. I move approval based on staff's recommendation. Have a couple of questions when appropriate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Go ahead, Rita, with your questions.
Are these copiers new copiers or replacement copiers for the various locations?
Probably replacement, Rita. I think DPS is moving into a new building, so I think this is part of that, getting new copiers for their building. But also, I think the timing of the new building and the expiration of their current contract coincided, so I think it's just moving on with new copiers in the new building as well.
What happens to the current copiers? Are they returned to the
They are,
vendor? Are they continue?
they return to the vendor picks them up, there to pick them up once they're no longer needed and contract is expired.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, the next item is with Mississippi Department of Corrections, also with Canon USA in the amount of $1,960,100.27. This is a request for adding money to accommodate current projected costs, bringing the new value to $2,105,190.27. They're adding money to accommodate for the projected quick charges and other costs. OPTFM recommends approval of this increase.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a request for exemption from regulations for 2 agencies. We'll start off with the University of Mississippi Medical Center. And this is a request to exempt them from the disposal of personal property, which is Chapter 8 of the procurement manual. UMMC is requesting exemption for the period of July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026 to the requirements of the regulations found in the Mississippi procurement manual under Chapter 8 entitled Disposal of Personal Property, specifically Section 8.102.01 .2, which requires advertising of certain personal property which becomes surplus to the agency or is obsolete or inoperable, but still has residual value. Agencies must determine whether the value of the trade-in exceeds $1,000 in which quotes are required. Property with an estimated value of over $5,000 must be advertised. Since UMHC has authority to purchase from a GPO and is exempt from bid requirements, they're asking to be exempt regarding the disposal advertising requirements as well. This will enable them to trade in items on the GPO without having to bid separately the sale of those items which have residual value of greater than $1,000. OPTFM recommends approval of this exemption.
You heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Next item is another yearly request. This is from MDOT, requesting the board delegate authority to OPTFM for subsequent spending limit approvals for MDOT for the contract period starting July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. These contracts are for the commodities listed below and will have line item pricing and no contract total. These approvals are for internal spending limits only and are not related to contract amendments, pricing, or quantity increases. And they are requesting the board delegate approval to OPTFM to allow the spending limits to be increased. The following commodities are awarded as an indefinite quantity price contract. I'm going to read those. I can. Y'all see those there in front of you. OPTFM recommends approval of this delegate.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, the final item for OPTFM is on the master lease purchase for MDOT. Total amount $3.2 million. This is for Series 2023A, and MDOT is requesting authority to revise and amend the previously approved master lease purchase planning form. The planning form was approved by this board back on January 4th of 2023. In addition to having already purchased the equipment listed on the original planning form, MDOT wishes to include the purchase of a zero-turn mower with a 48-inch deck with a total remaining balance in their acquisition fund of $7,446. OPTFM approves granting authority to proceed at procurement and financing the additional equipment listed under the master lease.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can we get a motion to approve?
Ray, I move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the master lease purchase. Just go ahead when you're ready.
Can we jump up some?
What's that?
I think we just did master lease, so we'll move to,
Oh, I'm sorry.
a building contract.
I zoned out there for a second. Okay, we'll go to DFA Bureau Buildings.
The first item is coming to PPRB for approval because the construction contract is exceeding $5 million. The using agency is Mississippi Veterans Affairs, GS number 507064 for the nursing home mechanical improvements to Upchurch Plumbing LLC. The construction time of 365 days. A total value award is $8,600,600, which is base bid and 2 alternates. The scope is HVAC system upgrades and replacements at Kosciuszko, Collins, and Oxford nursing homes. BOB recommends PPRB approval contingent upon a fully executable contract.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. Any questions? I have a question. Are we receiving any federal funds to help offset the cost?
I think this is all already funds and.
This agency did not receive any line item ARPA money for this work.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes. Move to item B.
Item B is for a change order. When it exceeds 25% or 5 million, the agency is North Mississippi State Hospital, project number GS 426026. The title is ARPA mitigation. The general contractor is Terry Services, Inc. The original contract sum is $592,565. Previous change orders at $26,250. The total value for this change order is $458,900. The construction time, including the change order, is 410 days. The scope is to replace existing 98 BOV terminal units and associated piping specialties, create 4 isolation rooms with associated fan and room pressure monitors in the men's and women's wings of the building. The BOV recommends PPRB approval contingent upon executable change order, and the price for this change order is the original price in the bid when the bid came in. And yeah, it was an alternate in April of 24. And they held their price.
Have you heard staff recommendation? Can we get a motion to approve?
I move to approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? Motion passes. We'll move to item C.
Is there a correction to the agenda? I got a C, succeeding leases.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Ken Adams with Real Property Management, RPM succeeding leases. We've got the Mississippi Division of Medicaid in Columbus, Mississippi for 9,500 square feet. At a yearly cost of $142,500 to $15 per square foot, and that is plus utilities and janitorial. Purpose of the lease: this location will serve as the Medicaid regional office for this part of the state. This is the 5-year lease with no renewals. This agency has been at this location since November of 2020. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes.
The next one is with the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services. If you don't mind, I would like to present number 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a group. It is for 730 square feet. Y'all remember the apartment project that Rehab Services is doing down on the coast. It's a 1-year succeeding lease. It's $12,000 per year per apartment at $16.44 plus utilities and janitorial. Purpose of the lease: Mississippi Department of Rehab Services blind clients will be living in the apartments as part of a residential training model. This agency has been at this location since June of 2024, and that's they've all been there about 1 year now. This is a 1-year lease with no renewals. The lease is contingent on receiving a signed contract, and I believe we received those contracts after the agenda was submitted. RPM recommends the approval of these leases.
You've heard staff recommendation on items 3, 4, 5. Can I get a motion to approve?
This
It'll be
is
2, 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, I'm
Here's the-
sorry, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Read the Ray, I move approval of number 2, 3, 4, and 5, based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 7.
I'm Angela Cooper with OPSC. Item number 1, Boswell Regional Center is seeking one contractor to provide medical care for the Brookhaven and Winston Group homes, as well as the Mississippi and Adolescent Center in Brookhaven, and will also serve as medical director for Boswell Medical Center. The agency contends the use of an invitation for bids is neither practicable nor advantageous because the agency needs to evaluate based on experience, not only as a medical doctor, but also with the IDD community, and price is not the most important factor to consider for these services. Offers will be evaluated on the following factors: technical weight of 30%, management 35%, and cost 35%. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good morning, I'm Trina Kelly with OPSCR. The Mississippi State Treasury Office has submitted a petition for relief. This contract is for 3 years with 2 one-year optional renewals. The agency is seeking the 2 contractors to serve as communication and marketing consultants. They will provide services to the executive office, impact, MAX, unclaimed property, and all other operations of the office. The contractors will be responsible for public affairs, media relations, digital and social media communications, advertising, direct mail marketing, and telephone marketing. The agency contends the use of an IFB is neither practical nor advantageous because the agency needs knowledgeable and technical skills to provide this type of service. Offerers will be evaluated on the following factors: management 25%, technical 30%, interview 10%, and cost at 35%. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Rita.
Who currently serves in this role?
I have Ms. Teresa with the Office of Treasurer. She's on the line.
Hi, good morning. Amplify Inc. is the current communications firm that we use.
And they have served how many years?
They have served, this is ending their 5th year. Their 5th year will be up December 2nd.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions? All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Smith with the Office of Statewide Strategic Sourcing. We have a petition from the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration. The agency wants to run an RFQ for multiple contractors to provide handyman services for buildings that are managed by DFA. The agency contends that an IFB is neither practicable nor advantageous because they need the flexibility to evaluate experience. Offers will be evaluated on management factors at 65% and cost factors at 35%. The anticipated term is 2 years with 3 optional 1-year renewals. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can we get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Did I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Morning, Chelsea Stewart, OPSCR. Number 1 is a contract modification from Mississippi Development Authority with Regions Bank. The contractor provides new investment opportunities from Europe, expansion of existing firms in Mississippi, and promotion of Mississippi exports to Europe. Amendment 2 has been submitted to increase the maximum compensation from $576,000 to $596,000 for the contractor to participate in business missions led by agency leadership and for special promotional activities. All of the terms and conditions of the original contract remain the same. OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon receipt of the required proof of regulatory board approval.
You've heard staff recommendations. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I have a question. Is there any data? Does anybody have any data to when you're spending $600,000? I mean, have there been any successes in?
Amber, I believe Amber should be on the line.
Yes, this is Amber, Mississippi Development Authority.
Yeah, Amber. I mean, can you enumerate any successful incidences from investing this kind of money into bringing business into Mississippi?
I don't have the exact information for this contractor, but I can get it to you.
Okay, you can give it to me or get it to us.
Get it to you.
Okay, all right. When do you think you could get it to the board? Can you get it to the board? Get it to Brittany, and she'll send it out to us.
I can get that to her today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, number 2 is a new contract from the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration Office of Insurance with Merited US LP. The contract is for 5 years with no option to renew and has a total value of $1,811,700. The contractor will provide decision support and related healthcare analysis consulting services to the Mississippi State and School Employees Health Insurance Management Board. The contractor was selected through an invitation for bids with 2 respondents. One respondent was deemed non-responsible and/or non-responsive, and the contract was awarded to the responsive and responsible respondent. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
This is Rita Ray. I move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, number 3 is the contract between Mississippi Department of Finance Administration Office of Insurance with Keystone Peer Review Organization, LLC, doing business as Accenture Health. The contract term will be for 9 months to provide maternity management services. The total value of the contract is for $188,100. The agency has determined that exigent circumstances exist due to the expiration of the current emergency contract and the need to extend those services to match the contract end dates of the case management and health and wellness contracts to ensure the most competitive and transparent process for the future health and wellness solicitation. Based on the agency's determination that the requirements for exigent circumstances have been met, OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Normally I have a question,
Go ahead.
please. Exigent circumstances.
Exigent circumstances.
I'm used to hearing emergency, I'm used to hearing other things, but that's more like a law enforcement type term.
Financial crisis is what we usually hear.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what was the circumstances on this? Because it looks like there was an emergency contract last week, and we're extending this emergency. This is no more than an emergency contract, is that correct?
The emergency contracts are limited to 1 year. So
Right.
they're up on that. So this is almost like a bridge to get them the services they need until they can finish the big solicitation. So they can enter into, these services will be in a much larger contract that they're soliciting for these types of services.
Okay, the second thing on that is change the date up there. It should be 6/30/26, not 6/30/25. Or it's 10/1/24.
Okay.
One of the.
We'll figure that out.
Like a 4 and a 5 or a 5 and a 6, but we can't have it like that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Number 4 is a contract from the Mississippi Department of Education for Michael D. Kent. The term of the contract is 1 year with 4 optional renewals and has a total value of $156,092. The contract worker will provide district consolidation services and district transformation services and was selected through a request for applications and was the sole respondent. OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon proof of regulatory board approval and the required purse form.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Angela Cooper again with OPSCR. Item number 5, this is a new contract between Mississippi State Hospital and Illiard Incorporated doing business as Current Hospitality LLC with a term of 4 years with one optional 1-year renewal. The contractor was selected for a request for proposals with 2 respondents and awarded to the highest score. The contractor will provide food management services for Mississippi State Hospital. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Any questions on this item?
Yes, this is Rita Ray. Is this on the one building or the area here in this area or throughout the state? Where they say again?
I believe we have somebody from the hospital on the line.
This is Carla Dearman with Mississippi State Hospital. This is just for the campus at Whitfield.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm going to take items 6 and 7 in block. These are new contracts between Mississippi State Hospital and the contract workers in item 6, A through E, and item 7, A through E, in the amount of $96,000 each, which each having a term of 1 year with no option to renew. In item 6, these contract workers are registered nurses who will provide nursing services 2 or more weekends a month, plus a minimum of 6 state mandated holidays. In item 7, these contract workers are registered nurses who will provide inpatient psychiatric nursing services 2 or more weekends a month, plus a minimum of 6 state mandated holidays. In items 6 and 7, these contract workers were selected through a request for applications with 5 responsive and responsible respondents, and all were awarded a contract. The agency requests exceptions for items 6 and 7 to PPRB OPSCR rules and regulations, chapter 7.3.1,
because the period of performance for the term of the contract was not included in the RFA solicitation. OPSCR has reviewed the request and has no concerns that granting the exception would affect the competition, fairness, or transparency of the procurement. OPSCR recommends approval of these requests.
Okay, can I get a motion? Can I get a motion and a second for items 6 and 7?
Move for approval, 6 and 7 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Just a quick question on the refreshment on that period of performance. What is that? Is that trying to say that?
The term of the
term of the
contract,
contract. Okay.
they failed to put it in the solicitation.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Item number 8, these are new contracts between Mississippi State Hospital and the contract workers A through G. Each contract is for 4 years with no option to renew. These contract workers were selected through a request for applications with 8 respondents, and 7 responsive and responsible respondents were awarded a contract. Each contract worker will be paid $90 per hour, but will work a different number of hours. These contract workers are physicians who will serve as medical officers of the day. OPSCR recommends approval of these requests.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendations. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yes, this is Rita Ray. It seems as if most of these are all MDs with the OD they're listed. Why is there a difference in their total amounts?
Because they're gonna be working a different number of hours. They're gonna be paid the same rate, but they all will not be working the same number of hours.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item number 9, these are new contracts between Mississippi State Hospital and the contract workers A through C. Each contract is for 4 years with no option to renew. These contract workers were selected through a request for applications with 3 responsive and responsible respondents. All 3 were awarded a contract. Each contract worker will be paid $275 per hour, but will be working a different number of hours. These contract workers are psychiatrists who will serve as attending physicians, supervising residents in outpatient clinics, and/or as attending physicians providing care to inpatient psychiatric patients, provide lectures to the resident, and serve on the faculty of Mississippi State Hospital Psychiatric Residence Program. OPSCR recommends approval of these requests.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second with a question.
Go ahead.
Lectures to residents.
Yes, and I think we have Mr. Blanks on the line.
Hey, good morning. This is Bo Blanks from Mississippi State Hospital. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Part of the explanation of the contract, it says, provide care to inpatient psychiatric patients, provide lectures to the residents, and serve on faculty. What's the lectures to the residents?
Yes, sir. So we have a psychiatry residency program here at the hospital. And so as part of that, these psychiatrists, they go, so in their 3rd and 4th year of their residency training, they go into community mental health centers. So like example, Region 8 and Region 9, their primary duties involve supervising the residents whenever they go into those community mental health centers. However, they also provide lectures and provide different teaching and education things to the residents through lectures as well.
Future doctors.
The reason I was asking the question, I don't guess I've ever seen a whole lot where you provide lectures to the residents. I could see where you provide lectures to other doctors or something, or staff members.
These are other doctors.
Residents.
Residents in the psychiatric program. I mean, the doctor, UMC.
Residents in the program, not residents at the hospital.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct. Yes, sir. They're psychiatry residents. Yes, sir. So they're doctors, just not psychiatrists yet.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Most of them are UMC students, so that's what.
When I read resident, I think of somebody at the hospital. So, okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good morning, Kimberly Burns with OPSCR. The Mississippi Department of Public Safety is requesting to enter into a contract with Bode Mark Forensics in the amount of $450,000. The contractor will provide customized testing and reporting services for human DNA testing services for Mississippi Forensics Lab. The contractor was selected through an IFB with 2 respondents, which the lowest bid won. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
The Mississippi Division of Medicaid is requesting to enter into a contract with Sally Harrison in the amount of $843,919.20. Ms. Harrison was selected through an RFA to act as a platform administrator in the Office of Technology. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
The Mississippi Division of Medicaid is requesting to enter into an exigent circumstance with Medical Review of North Carolina in the amount of $2,259,070. And the term is 1 year with no renewals. The contractor will conduct annual reviews for Mississippi CAN and Mississippi CHIP programs. The agency has determined that exigent circumstances exist that prevent it from running a competitive solicitation before the expiration of its current contract due to several unforeseen and significant factors. Specifically, staffing changes within managed care, as well as other issues listed. Based on the agency's determination that the requirements for exigent circumstances has been met, OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon receipt of the required certificate of insurance.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval based on staff recommendations.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
The Mississippi Division of Medicaid is requested to modify its contract with Molina, Magnolia, and Mississippi True. Amendment 1 has been submitted to update various sections of the contract associated with the financial requirement. All other terms and conditions remain the same. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
For staff recommendation, can I get a motion to approve?
Rita Ray, I move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Hello, good morning. Jonathan Gillett with the Office of Personal Service Contract Reviews. Item number 14 is a new contract with the Mississippi State Department of Health and Pace Analytical Services, LLC. The contractor will provide unregulated contaminant monitoring, analysis, and reporting of water drain sample results for components for previously unmonitored systems. The contractor was selected from the invitation for bids with 3 bidders. The contract was awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. The agency requests an exception to PPRB OPSCR rules and regulations, section 5.2, because the ISB wasn't directly furnished to 3 potential bidders, and was advertised less than 30 days. And due to section 5, and due to the notice of intent to award not listing the names of bidders who submitted a bid and price in the order of overall price. OPSCR has reviewed the request and has no concerns that granting an exception would affect the competition, fairness, or transparency of the procurement. OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon receipt of the required certificate of insurance and exception request being granted.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval and have a question.
Second, and I'm gonna have a question also. I'm gonna ask you first.
My question is, I mean, of course, sometimes we have little exceptions, but this is 3 different issues. I read that right. Is Department of Health making corrections not to do that again?
Yes.
That's right.
I guess my question, Jonathan, is, was advertised less than 30 days? Less than 30 days, that could be 1 or 29.
I want to say it was in the mid 20 days, but it was over the 14-day rule.
Past 14 days, okay. Y'all are very comfortable that it did not affect the competition of this?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay.
Because they, I'm assuming, Department of Health sent direct invitations to a whole bid list, probably.
Yes, so what they did was they entered in Magic, and as you know, vendors, they are registered in Magic, and they receive those solicitations. So with our new rules and regulations, we were asking agencies to send directly. For example, even though I put it in Magic, but if I want to send RFAs to Moorhead, Mission Norman, or Brittany, I need to send directly through email that copy of that solicitation.
So they did not send the direct email, correct? Okay.
They didn't send any, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. So, all right. As long as y'all are comfortable that it didn't affect the competition on this thing, like kind of like Billy, it seemed like there was 2 or 3 issues that they need to work on. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any additional questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Item number 15 is a contract between Mississippi State Department of Health and Mississippi State University. The term of the contract is 9 months with no option to renew. The contractor administers surveillance and evaluation services for the Mississippi Comprehensive Tobacco Control Program project to develop and implement a system of surveillance and evaluation for programs and services pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 27-104-72I. Agencies under the purview of PPRB may contract with government entities not under the purview of PPRB without bidding or other solicitation. OPSCR recommends approval of this request. Oh, excuse me, the agency has determined the price represents the fair market value for the service. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approve this item. I have a question on this.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Go ahead, Norman.
Oh, they try.
Yes, sir.
So 24 June 30, 25?
Yes, sir.
Like 3 weeks from now?
I apologize.
3 weeks from now?
Yes, sir.
Should we have already approved this thing almost a year ago?
So I don't think Mississippi State realized that they were going to be in a situation for these services that was going to require PPRB approval. They entered into an interagency agreement back in October.
Right.
But now the services are such that it needs PPRB approval to continue. So we're asking y'all to go ahead and approve the whole agreement that started in October, since this was an interagency with Mississippi
Yeah,
State and no solicitation was
There's no
required.
solicitation, I understand. I just want to make sure that the dates are right on that. I was looking, I would have thought we probably did this, but it could have been a staff approval also.
Yes, they are just now finding themselves in a situation that this needs to be approved at this point so they can continue through the end of June.
Okay.
And let me ask to the same lines mentioned, or two lines were mentioned in the previous, Mississippi State were they the previous contractor in the one for PACE, just above that, or is that an error?
That is an error. The one before PACE, I believe, was Eurofins, but I'll confirm that.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, the state.
Oh, their current contractor line?
Yeah, the last two lines, budget for contract.
We'll confirm whether or not Mississippi State currently holds that contract or not.
And the budget, both of those two lines are the same two lines stated down here.
Okay.
Number 18, 17, 18 has the same two lines.
We'll either confirm or we'll amend it for the minute.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yeah, as correct.
Aye. Motion passes.
Amy Gamble, OPSCR. The Mississippi Development Authority is presenting a new contract with Maris West and Baker Incorporated for $2,200,000. The term of the contract is approximately 9 months with no renewals. The contractor serves as an agency of record for tourism related to promotion, marketing, and advertisement and all related services, while the agency is actively in the process of issuing an RFQ. The agency has determined that exigent circumstances exist that prevent it from running a competitive solicitation before the expiration of its current contract due to the uncertainty of potential restructuring of the tourism division during the 2025 legislative session. Based on the agency's determination that the requirements for exigent circumstances have been met, OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendations.
Question.
Go ahead, Rita.
Rita Ray, can you give me an example of an exigent circumstance?
Yes, ma'am. So in this situation, I think that there was some uncertainty related to what was going to happen to the tourism division within this legislative session. And so here the agency did not have time to fully finish a competitive solicitation while they were waiting to see what the legislature did with this particular group, if they were going to move it into their own agency separate from NDA. And so that the uncertainty around that hasn't happened to my knowledge. And so they are running a competitive solicitation now, but in the meantime, they still need these services.
Thank you.
What exact services is Maris West and Baker providing?
Marketing and promotion services related to their tourism in the state. And I believe NDA is still on the line if.
So is this throughout the United States and in foreign countries? I mean, what's the scope of the services? I mean, maybe scope of services.
Good morning, this is Brian.
Way to phrase it.
Yeah, this is Brian Daniel from MDA. So Maris West and Baker is the ad agency of record for the agency's tourism product, and Maris West and Baker's work is generally limited to the United States. We actually have another advertising firm that is located in Europe that we have a separate contract with them. But most of the work that Marist Weston Baker does is in Mississippi and a radius around us. Now it does go nationally in some instances. For instance, the Rose Parade, that they work heavily on the float and all of the activities going with that event each year as well. So then that's part of the reason that we need to have this contract in place through the end of the year or past the end of the year is the Rose Parade being as large an event as it is. Things are happening right now and contracts are being signed and work is being done for that event, and has been. It will be going through the event in January.
Do y'all measure return on investment? Do y'all have any data on the return on investment of the money spent on the advertising and the services that your firms provide?
We do. We have some metrics. I don't have those available, but there's also, because of the nature of what Marist Weston Baker works on, is tied to a legislatively or statutorily a tax diversion, and the peer does a report every year in December regarding the advertising fund and the majority of what Marist Weston Baker is responsible for doing. So there are, I think, 4 years worth of reports currently out, and then we just currently finished up a larger ROI report that was done and released, and we can get copies of those to the board without any problem. That way y'all will have some information on what all it is that we've done and what Marist has done and the funds have been spent on.
Okay, Brittany, do you mind being the conduit to getting that to the board?
I can do that.
Thank you. When can we expect that information?
I would assume I could probably get it sometime today or tomorrow, because I do believe most all of it's going to be on Pier's website. I'll just have to go download it and email it to Brittany.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just send us the link.
Sure.
Okay, so
I would just say, I would think, now I don't know the details of the uncertainty of the potential restructuring, but I know all the financial challenges of not having budgets. I was a CFO at a state entity that didn't get a budget until June the 29th one year. So we still did continue to pursue forward as if we were going to operate on July 1st, but anyway.
Yes, sir. Now, and that was that the budget was not the, I guess the.
No, that's what the restructuring, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions on this item? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll move on to item Roman numeral 8.
Morning. Step on conscious
Morning.
statewide strategic sourcing. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources has submitted a petition for relief. I need to make a correction on the agenda. It should be seeking a request for proposals as opposed to a request for qualification. The term of the requested contract will be 12 months. The agency is seeking one contractor to manufacture and deploy specifically fabricated artificial reef materials in the Mississippi Sound. The agency contends the use of the invitation for bids is neither practical nor advantageous due to the overall complexity of the project. Although price is a consideration, it is not the most important factor. The agency needs to consider and evaluate each vendor's qualifications and ability to manufacture and deploy artificial reef materials specifically suitable for use in the conditions of Mississippi Sound. Offers will be evaluated on the following factors. Costs will be evaluated and weighted at 36%. The technical portion will be weighted at 35%, and the management portion will be weighted at 29%. OSSS recommends approval of this request.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
Rita Ray, I move to approve with the edit that was provided based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, Shannon Smith with the Office of Statewide Strategic Sourcing. Recently, we issued an invitation for bids to create a pre-approved list of vendors for pest control services. Agencies under PPRB purview may contract with these vendors without conducting their own solicitations. The IFB stated we would recommend awards for all responsive and responsible bidders whose average bid price does not exceed 125% of the mean in each region. 2 bidders responded. One of those was deemed responsive and responsible. This list will be effective May 31st until May 31st, 2028. Prices will remain fixed and valid until May 31st, 2030. There is an allowance for price increase in case of unexpected market disruptions. The price adjustment must be supported by market analysis and cannot exceed 110% of the original bid rate. OSSS recommends that Day Pest Control be placed on the PPO for pest control services.
You've heard staff recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation. Question. So
Have a motion and a second. Go ahead.
the question is, are there other vendors already on this list?
This is a brand new list.
So it's just one vendor right now?
Just one vendor right now, yes. And we will be doing, just like with the other ones, we'll be doing rolling awards on an annual basis to try to get more people, more vendors on it.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Any other business anybody wants to bring up?
Reminder, everybody should have done their ethics, whatever reports, whatever those things were.
Okay.
Yeah, need to get them done.
Our next meeting will be July 2nd, at 9 a.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
In honor of our former chair, I make a motion that we adjourn. So.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Hope everybody else has a good July or June, I mean.
Thank y'all.
Brittany, good luck with your house.
Thank you. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you for letting me participate via the internet.
Did a great job.